A lot of snow, and even more ice. This is ice spikes, one of the most interesting biomes in Minecraft. I've been planning to build this great biome for a long time. After many months I finally collected all the necessary parts, and few weeks of building, and here it is. My new Minecraft MOC, the ice spikes. After a short break I am coming back to Minecraft, and it's going to be a very big project. One of the biggest I've ever done, and definitely the highest. This is already the 11th MOC from Minecraft. The last one was the Nether Bastion. And now I'm going to take you a very cold place. So dress up warmly and let's get started. Ice Spikes is very interesting biome with unique ice structure. I did some research on the subject. Such an ice formation is called a penitent, and is created by the melting of snow or ice by the sun. On our planet can be seen mainly in the Andes, and are small in size. They rarely exceed 2 meters. Scientists assume that much larger forms of ice spikes may exist on Europe, Jupiter's ice moon. They can be up to 15 meters. Not bad. Time for a few words about the blocks I'd be using for the construction. This time there won't be anything new here that could surprise you. Snow and ice will appear most often. After all, I'm building ice spikes, right? What will stand out is the additional layer of snow on the blocks. This means I'll have to be very careful to cover everything properly with snow. Building ice spikes requires a huge amount of parts. That's why I've been ordering a lot of medium blue and white for some time. See for yourself. Ice Spikes is not my first winter MOC, so I already had a lot of parts in those colors. Some time ago I built Frozen Ocean, but it was fairly a small project. This one will be much bigger. I start the construction by preparing the baseplate. It will be a very large MOC, one of the largest I've ever done. The size will be the same as my last cave. 40 by 40 stats. That is 20 by 20 Minecraft blocks. Of course my last cave was bigger, because it was shaped like a cube. But this project will be much taller. I added a frame and the baseplate is now the right size. Let's see what we have here. Some water will appear in the front. Or rather ice, because it's very cold here. There will be some sand and soil. At the back of my MOC I will build a large cave, in which I will build the player base. Rather something simple. You will see for yourself in a moment. The first layer is ready. I added a few blocks of water and marked the places for the first tiles. So it's time for my favorite step, a quick speed build. A few bricks later I started building the second layer. At this stage a few interesting things will appear here. At the front I start building the river. It will flow out of the main mountain, on which there will be ice spikes. At the back I made space for something interesting, but now time to prepare a few water blocks. In the main cave there will be a water lake. It will have the same source as the river, flowing from the other side. In a later stage I will build a player base here. I added a third layer. The main river has grown a bit. There is some water here, but most of it is covered with ice. It looks very nice. I added a lot more snow, and it's worth stopping here for a moment. The blocks that will not be covered from above have an additional layer of snow. That is why in some places you see one layer of tile below. It's also worth mentioning that there is already a place where the first ice spikes will be. There will be 3 in the entire MOC. In the next step of construction I already have the most of the front terrain ready. The main mountain where the cave will be is still missing. And ice spikes, of course. As you can see, there is already a lot of snow here. Fortunately I have a very large supply of tiles, so don't worry, I will run out of them. There are still enough for Snowy Village, which I will also build someday. I also added a place for the second ice spike. This one will be real high. Now it's time to take care of the mine cave. First, the ladder. In the new Minecraft sets there will be a new part, which will be great. Unfortunately, at the time of building this MOC, I don't have these parts yet. So I will make the ladder the same as in my previous MOC, the Snowy Taiga. I think such a ladder also looks very nice. On the right side I finished building the entrance to the player base. I also added a few details such as a chest and mushrooms. You can also see color. I left some jumpers on the surface, which I will need to the next stage of construction. And that in a moment. But first let's go back to ice spikes. I'm starting to build the first ice spike. Currently in the game the structure is covered in snow. That is why I came up with such a simple technique that allows me to add a layer of snow. It seems to me that ice spikes used to not cover it in snow. But I didn't find any information about when and why this change happened. If you know anything about it, let me know in the comments. I'm continue to build the mine mountain. And at this point I'll speed up the construction a bit, so you can see more and more progress. I finished building the waterfall. All that's left is to add a few bricks in transdark blue. As you can see, the water is flowing down from two sides. A larger waterfall is created in front, which created a river. And on the other side, in the cave, a smaller waterfall flows into the lake. I think it looks very cool. I really like to add water things like that in my MOCs. Now I'll spend some time in the mine cave. The ladder is ready. So it's time to build the player base. It will be a pretty simple construction, but good enough to protect the player from the mobs. I've added wooden columns and a floor, so it's time to add some details, like a bed and a crafting table. At a later stage I'll add a few more things here. And this is what it looks like. A safe place to rest. Many bricks later I finally finished the first ice spike. Even though it seems big to me, it will be the smallest of all of them, and I plan to build 3. Now I know I will need a lot of more parts in medium blue. I already like the effect a lot, and this is only halfway through the build. Now it's time to get back to building the cave. I am getting to work. The mountain is much bigger now. I have also reached the point where I can add some interesting details. In the cave I will add some lamps that will be hung from the ceiling. For this I have to reverse the jumper. The lamp is mounted on 1x1 clips. They will replace the short chain. It looks very good. There will be a few such lamps in the cave. If I build another project with such lamps, I have to add some LEDs. Many bricks later the mine mountain is already very big. A few more layers are missing. In the next steps I will add a lot of snow. And I will make a place for the third and the last ice spike. But before that happens, see what the finished cave looks like. At the back of my project there is quite a large space. So I thought it would be a perfect place for player base. You know, such a first shelter at the beginning of the game. There are only the most necessary things here. I think it looks very nice. Okay, the mine mountain is ready. I used more white bricks than I thought. So I think the Snowy Village will be a separate project, not the second part of this one. My MOC is already quite high, and the last, most important thing is not there yet. And finally, it's time for ice spikes. The smallest one is already on the baseplate, so it's time for 2 much bigger ones. This is what the last stage of building this project looks like. I had to make 2 additional orders on Bricklink because I ran out of medium blue, and my local stores don't have a large stock of such parts either. As you can see, my ice spikes are covered with snow from the top. The shape is as you can see. It's a pretty simple construction, so there's nothing to get excited about the techniques. Everyone can see what ice spike is like. So it's time to mount them on the baseplate, and it's ready. All that's left is the mobs. And this is what my version of Ice Spikes looks like. What do you think? This is one of my biggest Minecraft projects. If you remember my previous MOCs, you can probably see that I'm building them bigger and bigger. I have a 2 project in size 16 by 14, so it will be interesting. Let me know in the comments what other biomes you would like to see. My next MOC will be a series of remasters from Exoforce. Okay, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye!